that we have, the unit 2, right, is magnetostatics. The first part of the second unit, magnetostatics. So there are two parts in this, right? The first part is about the magnetostatics. Second part is about Maxwell's equations. Okay. Second part is about Maxwell's equations. So we will see the two parts. Okay. So the first part is about magnetostatics, right? The second unit. So in the first unit, we have studied about electrostatics, right? What was electrostatics? Electrostatics all dealt about, right, the study of static electric field. That is the study of electric field produced, right? Okay, with the help of static charges. That means the charges at rest. Okay. So whenever there is a charge particle at rest, whenever there is a charge at rest, then around this charge, okay, there will be some force, correct? So this force is having electrical nature, and hence you call this force as electric field. Okay. And because this field that is produced, right, is static with respect to time, that is, it is constant with respect to time, we call it as static electric field. Okay. So this we discussed, right? So the electric field that you produce, the electric field that we produce, the E bar, that the force that we produce around the charge, right? This is a constant with respect to time. So therefore, we call this field as static field, and because it is having electrical nature, we call it as electrostatics. Correct? So we studied about how to measure the intensity of this electric field at various points. Okay. So at various points, so how to measure the electric field we have studied. We have discussed the various techniques, right, and the things. Okay. Now in the similar way, right, we have magnetostatics. Okay. So what is magnetostatic means? Basically, statics means study. Okay. So we are going to, static means static, that is constant with respect to time. So the study of constant magnetic fields. Okay. That means a field which is static in nature. That means which does not change in time. Okay. So if the value of the field does not change in time, it is called as a static field. Okay. Okay. If the field has electrical nature, we call it as electrostatic field. And if the field has magnetic nature, we call it as magnetostatic field. Okay. Static magnetic field. Right. So in this unit, what we are going to see is, right, we will be studying how to measure the magnetic field strength at a point. Same as that of electrostatics. Okay. So first unit, what we studied is all electrostatic, the measurement of electrostatics. Here we are going to study, right, the measurement of magnetic field, which is static in nature. Okay. So there we have studied various methods, but here there are only two methods to study magnetic field, right? Those two methods are, one is Biot-Savart's law. I think many of you know. And the second method is the Ampere's law, right? So first method is the Biot-Savart's law. Second method is the Ampere's law. All right. So in the first part of this unit, which is a very small unit, right, which will take 4 to 5 classes to finish, right? So in this part, in this unit, we will be studying about the measurement of static magnetic field. Okay, static magnetic field, right? So there are two techniques, Biot-Savart's law and Ampere's law. We will be discussing them, and we will be finding out how to calculate the magnetic field intensity, right, using these two laws for various kinds of things. Okay, correct? Yeah. So right, this is the thing that we are going to study in the second unit. Okay. So before that, firstly, right, so the first thing is the Oersted's experiment, right? So the basic of electrostatics is the Coulomb's law, because the Coulomb is the person who have identified that whenever there is a charge at rest, around this charge there will be some force. Okay, right, and the force will be of electrical nature. Similarly, the magnetostatics or the static magnetic fields have been originated with the help of Oersted's experiments. Okay, Oersted's experiment. So what Oersted has done is, so he has observed that whenever a conductor is there, right, and if this conductor, right, carries some current, that is, whenever you pass a conductor, a current through a conductor, that is using a closed loop. So with the help of some potential, okay, a source, right, a battery or anything, okay. So whenever I connect a battery and through a closed loop, if I pass current through a conductor, right, so he has observed that this conductor will have or possesses the possess the property of magnetic nature. So it will try to attract all the, right, it attracts the, uh, it has the magnetic nature, and it attracts magnetic materials or iron materials around it, okay, right. So whenever you pass a current through a conductor, then it is observed, he has observed that the conductor acts like a magnet, okay. The conductor acts like a magnet, and it is attracting magnetic materials, okay. It is trying to attract magnetic materials. So therefore he has stated that whenever, right, he has stated that if a current is passed through a conductor, a current carrying conductor is there, it will act as a magnet, okay. And right, that is, it will produce a force that has a magnetic nature or magnetic property, okay. So this has this has given us the origination of, right, magnetism and magnetic, right, materials, okay. Correct, understood. So what, the fundamental law of magnetostatics is the Ørsted's law or Ørsted's experiment. So what Ørsted experiment is, so he has passed a current through a conductor, okay, and he has observed that whenever current is passed through the conductor, right, there is this conductor acts as a magnet, okay. It is attracting magnetic materials around it, okay. So there is some region, right, there is some region where the magnetic force is felt, right, and this, right, force is what we call it as magnetic field, okay. The region is called as magnetic field, okay. So he has stated that whenever, right, current is passed through a conductor, right, magnetic field is produced, okay. So next, what Faraday, right, Faraday has slightly improved that, okay, right. If the current that is passed through the conductor, right, Faraday, what he has done is, from the Ørsted experiment, he has just slightly improved it. So what he has said that is, so whenever you pass the current, whatever the current you passing, if it is of static nature, that is, static means constant, okay, constant with respect to time. So if the current that you are passing is a static current or DC current, or a right, constant with respect to time, the current which is constant with respect to time, then the field will also be having static nature, okay. That means the magnetic force or the magnetic field that you develop, that will also be static in, right, in nature. That means it does not change with time. At all times the value will be same, okay. Only the force will vary with the distance, right. Here the force will be more, here the force is less, but the force that is present here at this point will be same today, tomorrow, or whatever at the time. So it does not change with time, okay. It changes only with distance, correct. So this is the thing. So, right, so Faraday has right, just slightly modified and gave the thing, right. What is that? Whenever you pass, right, static current, that is DC current, right, DC current through a conductor, we will get a field that is static in nature, right, and that gives us, right, magnetic, okay, static magnetic fields, correct. So charges at rest will produce electric field, but if the charge is moving with constant velocity, right, then only I'll get constant current, right. Constant current is nothing but I is equal to, we studied, dq by dt, right. So rate of charge with the time, okay. That means same number of charge particles are moving per unit time, okay. So same equal number of charge particles are moving per unit time. That means all of them are moving with constant velocity, correct. So in that case, I will get constant current, and whenever I get constant current, the field that I produce is also constant with time, okay, right. So when charges move at with the constant velocity, we will get magnetic field. That is a final conclusion from all these things, okay, right. Clear, ma? So right, the final point is, whenever there is, right, whenever there is a current, static current, or whenever the charges move with constant velocity. That is, whenever we apply DC current to a conductor, right? So to a conductor, I am going to get, right, a charge, a static magnetic field. Okay. So conductor can be a line conductor, that is one dimensional like a wire, or it can be a surface, a two-dimensional surface like this. Okay, a plate of very small thickness, or it can be a volume, that is a three-dimensional one like this. So anything, right, or a sphere or a cylinder, etc., etc. Okay. So conductors can be of three types. Charges are of four types: point charge, line charge, surface charge, volume charge. But in magnetic field, we have only three types of conductors. Okay, line conductors, which are wires; surface, two-dimensional, right, and volume, which is three-dimensional. Okay, so we can produce magnetic field of line conductors, surface conductors, or volume conductors. Okay, clear with this? Right, this is the second point. Okay, the first point is, whenever you apply DC current, you will get magnetic field around through a conductor. Conductors are of three types: line conductors, surface conductors, and volume conductors. Third point, how do I measure magnetic field? So for measuring magnetic field, we have two parameters. One is H bar, which is called as magnetic field intensity. Magnetic field intensity. Okay, right, for measuring the strength of the magnetic field, we have a parameter called as H bar. What is this H bar means? H bar is given as magnetic field intensity. So what is this, right? What is, or how do you define magnetic field intensity? Okay, right. So the simple definition of magnetic field is, so for example, if I take a magnet, if I take a current carrying conductor like this, and it is producing some field. Okay, so the magnetic field intensity at a particular point, at any point P, can be defined as the force experienced by a one, right, Tesla. Okay, the magnetic field, or one whatever say one unit north pole. Okay, a unit north pole, right, a unit north pole, that is a magnet of one Tesla. Okay, or a unit magnet. So whatever the force experienced by this unit north pole at the point is called as the magnetic field intensity at the point. Okay, so the magnetic field intensity can be defined as the amount of force experienced by a unit north pole placed at that point. Okay, in the normal direction, right? So it is, H bar is a vector. We always have to remember H bar is a vector. So right, this H bar is a vector, and the direction of this vector will be normal direction. Okay, or it is given by the direction of the, right, Fleming's left hand rule. Okay, we know that, right? If this is the line carrying conductor, right, the current carrying conductor is in thumb direction, the point is in the point that we have, the point we take, or the, right, the distance that we take is this direction, then the magnetic field produced at that point will be in the, right, this direction. Okay, so the thumb rule, right, the left hand thumb rule, or the left hand's Fleming's left hand rule will give us the direction of the magnetic field. Okay, clear with this? So magnetic field intensity, magnetic field is measured using two parameters. The first parameter is magnetic field intensity. What is magnetic field intensity? It is the force experienced by a unit north pole placed at that point. Okay, so the magnitude is this. What is the direction? Direction will be normal direction and the perpendicular. Normal means perpendicular to both the, perpendicular to the plane, right, of the point of the line joining the point and the current carrying conductor. Okay, so that is the direction of the magnetic field, or H bar. Okay, second point, or the second measurement, right? One is H bar annanga. The second used parameter used for measuring the strength of the magnetic field is B bar. Okay, what does B bar means? B bar is the magnetic flux density. Okay, magnetic flux density, right? So Faraday again, right, same person, Faraday has said that whatever the force that produce, the magnetic force that you produce, this will be in form of lines, right? Which are called as magnetic flux lines. So I will stop with this small topic. I will stop it. Okay. So, right, the magnetic field that is produced around the current carrying conductor, right, will exist in the form of lines. Such lines are called as flux lines. Okay. Such lines are called as flux lines. Okay. Or these flux lines, unlike electric field low, right? So if I have a positive one charge, right, positive charge, if I have a positive charge, this, right, the flux lines also exist in this case, and all the flux lines, right, if it is positive charge, they will start at the charge and they will end at infinity. Okay, right, like this. But whereas for magnetic field, the flux lines will not be present if the charges are isolated. There can be no right, north pole and south pole isolated. Okay, so always the flux lines will start at the north pole and will end at the, right, south pole. That is, okay, the magnetic flux lines are always closed. Okay, so closed lines, whereas electric flux lines, they can be open also. Okay, this point we have to remember. Okay, so magnetic field also exists in the form of flux lines, and the amount of flux lines that is present in the unit area, okay, in the normal direction, again same thing, right? The total number of flux lines is generally represented by phi. Okay, phi is the total number of flux lines produced by the magnet, okay, by a current carrying conductor. Then phi per unit area is what we call it as the flux density. Okay. So all these concepts, you know, that's why I'm quickly moving on, right? So the flux density can be defined as the number of flux lines, the number of magnetic flux lines passing through a normal surface area or through a surface area in the normal direction. Okay, so total flux lines, if I consider it as phi, then the area will be, right, A. So B bar is equal to phi by A. Okay, and the B bar and H bar are related by using the formula B bar is equal to mu H bar. Okay, so same as that of D bar is equal to epsilon into E bar. Okay, so H bar is equivalent to E bar, right, and B bar is equivalent to D bar. Okay, right, so this is the thing. Okay, so these are the, right, basic introductory points about the magnetostatics, right? So I will quickly recap this and I'll stop. So firstly, Oersted is the first man who has done experiments with a current carrying conductor, and he has said that whenever there is a DC charge, yeah, whenever there is a DC current applied to a current carrying conductor, or whenever DC current is passed through the conductor, there will be magnetic field or magnetic force is generated in the conductor. This is the first point we have to remember. Okay, then Faraday, right, slightly modified it and right, slightly extended it and said if the current is static, then the force generated or the field developed is also static. That means the static means here it does not change with time. Okay, the field value does not change with time. Such fields are called as static fields. Okay, so this is the thing that we have to remember, right? So these are the 2 points. Okay, then the next thing is, again Faraday also said that the whatever the magnetic flux, magnetic lines or the magnetic force you produce will be in the form of lines. Okay, those lines are called as flux lines, right? And the magnetic flux lines will start at the north pole and will end at the south pole. Always they will be closed, right, in closed loop. Okay, that's the point. Next thing, right, next is how to measure magnetic field. Magnetic field intensity can be measured with the help of H bar, magnetic field intensity, and second is magnetic flux density. Okay, so what is magnetic field intensity? It is the amount of force experienced by a unit north pole, right? So a unit north pole, whatever the force experiences, that is nothing but the field intensity at the point. This is a vector. The magnitude will be equal to the force. Second, the direction that will be given by the Fleming's left hand rule. Okay, correct? Done. Next, the next quantity is flux density, right? As we said, the force exists in the form of flux lines. So the total flux or the total number of lines that are produced by a current carrying conductor is represented by phi. Okay. So the phi per unit area, that is the number of flux lines passing through a unit area in the normal direction, is what we call it as flux density. Okay. So that is represented by B bar. Okay. So B bar and H bar are related with the formula B bar is equal to mu into H bar, where mu is called as the permittivity of the material. Okay. So I hope this is clear, right? So this is the basic about the second unit, magnetostatics. So in the next class, we will see how we can calculate H bar using Biot-Savart's law. Okay, we'll study what is Biot-Savart's law, how we can measure H bar used for different types of things.